Good day folks, Sean here from Air Photography. Today we're going to be doing a first impression style video for the new V-Coptr Falcon. This is by ZeroZero Robotics, and this drone kind of has quite a history to it. It was actually announced about 2 years ago. I think it was back in fall of 2019 they first announced it and put it up for pre-order. It was supposed to be delivered later that fall, November or December if memory serves me correct. But in the end it was delayed and it was pushed to 2020. ZeroZero Robotics, the manufacturer that was developing the drone, did show up at CES 2020 and they did have some demonstrations of it, and at that time they were promising early spring. Of course then COVID happened and everything got pushed back even farther. 2020 came and went and still no sign of the drone. Truth be told, I kind of forgot I even pre-ordered it, and so I was surprised to get an email about a month ago saying that the drones were ready to ship and they were looking for their final payment. I did put down a $100 deposit when I pre-ordered it, and final payment was $699. That was for the drone and for the controller. Now, there is no way to really order it on their website anymore. If you go to it, on the Canadian version of it anyways, it doesn't really give you an option to purchase it. They did have a few units available on Amazon, but they have since sold out. So let's talk about the drone here and what makes it really interesting. This is, I think, as far as I know, the world's first bicopter drone. It means it only has 2 propellers. You can see here there's 2 buttons on the side. We hold them in and we can fold these arms up. And as you can see there, it is quite unique looking. Now the rest of the specs of this drone are nothing terribly impressive. It's got an old sensor in it, a fairly small sensor. Sensors that we've seen many years ago. It does have obstacle avoidance on the front. Now it does claim to have a 50-minute flight time. That's due to the efficiency of only having 2 propellers. I haven't fully tested that out yet, but what I can say is I did 2 flights with it yesterday. And as you can see there, I'm just working on the 3rd bar. So let's take a look around the drone here. You can see we have our 3-axis gimbal on the front. It does shoot in 4K 30. That's the maximum resolution. We have a fairly large battery that clips into the bottom. On the bottom here, we do have some sensors to help it hover. There's 3 LED lights on this drone. There's 1 on the back, and there's 2 there on each arm, as you can see. There's a USB-C port on the side. That's for connecting it to your computer. You can transfer files that way, but it's also how you update the firmware. The firmware on this drone has to be updated on a computer. There's an app you download, similar to the DJI Assistant app. That's how you update the controller and the drone. On the outside here, there's a flap, and underneath that, there's our memory card slot. And right above that, there's a button for linking the drone to the controller. When you purchase the kit, you also get this little mini case. This is kind of nice. It only fits the drone, but if you're going to be sticking the drone in a backpack, this works well to keep it protected, and it's fairly compact, so it will fit in there without taking up too terribly much room. You also get a screwdriver for changing out the propellers, and you also get 2 spare props, 1 clockwise and 1 counterclockwise. Now, I wasn't quite sure what to expect of this drone. It is quite different than anything I've ever flown before. Now, I didn't buy this drone because of the specs or what it could do or how it filmed. I basically bought it because it was interesting. I'm an RC enthusiast. I own many RC vehicles, many drones. I have a few fixed-wing planes. I just like messing around with RC vehicles, so this was just a no-brainer for me because it is so different. Now, if you're looking to purchase your first drone because you want to capture cinematic content, I don't know if I would recommend this as your first drone just because there are better options out on the market right now. Even something like the DJI Mini 2 is a great option at an affordable price. But I must say my first impressions of this drone are quite good. It actually handled fairly well up in the air. The control of it was quite good, and even the maneuverability I found to be quite on par with DJI. So let's go ahead here. I'm going to play some footage from my first flight with it. I just want to point out in the video, when I first take off with it, you're going to notice me point out that the drone is drifting. Now, it wasn't drifting around like some drones, they just can't hold their position. Basically, as soon as I took off, this drone wanted to move backwards. Now, it was just doing it a little bit. It wasn't anything that I couldn't compensate for, but that was a little bit concerning at first. I had done all the calibrations of this drone before I put it up. I calibrated the IMU, I calibrated the compass. I just thought maybe it was just due to the design. It just can't hold its position very well. However, on my second flight, I did figure out the problem. The controller needed to be calibrated. Sometimes that does happen. Within the app, you have the option to calibrate the control sticks, and that turns out that's all it was. So once I calibrated it, the drone actually hovered quite nicely. So let's go ahead and take a look at some footage from my very first flight. So we're out here with the V-Coptr Falcon, and we're going to take our very first flight with it. I'm not quite sure what to expect. I'm not going to do anything too drastic today. I don't really have a lot of confidence in this drone yet. It's just a new drone company that I've never flown before. Plus, it's quite radically different than anything I've flown before. So we're just going to take it a little bit easy today. So let's go ahead and we'll hit the takeoff button. Take off now. You can see it's doing something a little crazy there. And there it goes. It's kind of drifting a bit. Not sure why it's drifting. I've connected to 12 satellites. I did do a calibration, but it is drifting a little bit. But it seems pretty stable up in the air, surprisingly. Put it over into sport mode. They have two modes on here. They have what's called leisure mode and sport mode. Just going to move it around a little bit. It's actually kind of impressive to look at with only two propellers. It seems pretty agile. You can see it's spinning around there. Here, I'll bring it a little closer so maybe you can see that. Oh, they can actually spin quite fast. But yeah, that drifting is quite concerning. I don't know if you can see that on camera, but I'll just let go of the sticks and you can see now it's wanting to go backwards. So not sure what that's all about, but let's go for a quick flight here. We'll give it some altitude. I'll turn the camera down a little bit. One thing I am noticing is that the feed on it is nice and clear. Some drones, the FPV feed that comes back just doesn't look too great, but what I'm seeing on the screen looks nice and clear. So let's just go for a little bit of a flight. This supposedly has 7 kilometers range, but I'm definitely not gonna go out that far with it. Like I said, today mainly we just want to test out the flight characteristics and just see how well it flies. Check out some of the colors from fall. We've kind of missed the peak season. Okay, I'm not going to go any farther because there's a road down there and I don't trust this thing quite that much yet. Let's head back over this way. We'll just stay above this forest area. That way if something does happen, it's just going to fall down into the trees. But yeah, I won't know what the video quality looks like till I get home and analyze it. Yeah, so it looks pretty good. I'm pretty pleased with the way it's flying, actually. The horizon in the background looks nice and level. It doesn't have the best dynamic range. You can see when I have the camera down, it goes all white, which is pretty common for a small sensor like this. And you can see here I'm flying at 7 meters per second, 8 meters per second, and this is in sport mode, full stick forward. So it doesn't fly too terribly fast. I think I have obstacle avoidance on. Let me just check. No, actually I have obstacle avoidance off. It must not be available in sport mode. But yeah, so it doesn't fly terribly fast. Let's try some rotation movements. Just see how these sticks are. Yeah, not too bad. A little bit different than DJI, but the controller I was a little on the fence about at first, but now that I'm using it, it's actually quite comfortable to hold. It's a little toyish, but definitely I've used worse. The Hubsan controllers definitely feel a little cheaper than what this does. Yeah, I'm actually quite pleased with how it's flying so far, but I don't know what the video quality is going to be like I mentioned. I gotta wait till I get home, but I'm going to bring it home now. Like I said, just a quick flight today, and I'm going to do some more testing with it because it does have some interesting features. It does have follow me, but I'm not going to test that today. So yeah, I'm just going to bring it down for landing, get a little bit of B-roll footage for the edit, and then I'll come back with a final thought. So that is the V-Coptr Falcon. I was actually quite impressed with its flight capabilities. It did fly a lot better than I thought it was going to, and it was actually fairly stable in the air. Just due to the unique design, I wasn't quite sure how well it was going to hover and how well it was going to maneuver up in the air, but I was actually quite pleased. Now, as for the video quality, obviously I couldn't tell until I got home and took a look at it, but I was pretty pleased with the quality of the video. It was nothing spectacular, nothing that any other drone isn't currently capable of, but the image was stable, the gimbal worked well, there was no micro jitters or any kind of jello effect in the video. The colors were decent, just right out of camera. The only thing is, it is a very small sensor, so the dynamic range isn't great. Depending on how you have the camera angled, your sky could be blown out if you don't have enough of it in view. Now, as mentioned at the beginning of this video, if you're looking to purchase your first drone, I don't really think this is the drone for you. There are some better options on the market. If you're an RC collector of sorts, definitely I think you'd have a lot of fun with this drone. I'm actually looking forward to getting out and flying with it today again. Still waiting for my Mavic 3 to show up, so this will have to hold me over until it gets here. So yeah, that is the V-Coptr Falcon, a very interesting drone. I never really honestly thought it would see the light of day, but here it is in front of me. Hopefully you enjoyed this video and got some value out of it. Give it a thumbs up if you did. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel so you don't miss any of our upcoming videos, and we'll see you in the next one.